In this video we will release our final temperature, precipitation and snowfall forecast for the winter of 2020 to 2021. This is the overall forecast written in generic terms, so if you want to learn more details, keep watching. First I want to start off with La Niña. As the fall has progressed, our La Niña has continued to grow stronger and stronger. We were originally thinking it would be a weak one, and then in our last forecast we were expecting a moderate La Niña, but now we think we might even see a strong La Niña. Every single one of these models predict at least a moderate La Niña and half think it will be considered a strong one, or more than 1.5 degrees Celsius below average. The NASA model is predicting the strongest La Niña on record, which seems unlikely, but in 2020 it seems anything is possible. Also, just to make it clear, a stronger La Niña just means that typical La Niña impacts will be more likely to occur and more likely to be the dominant factor in the winter pattern. Another big change is that the coolest waters have moved more towards the central Pacific, which means we are more likely to see either a basin-wide La Niña event or a central-based La Niña. These two usually mean a warmer winter in the eastern half of the United States, whereas an eastern-based La Niña, what I was expecting before, usually leads to more high-latitude blocking, which aids in bringing the cold and snow. Next I want to look at the models. The CFS-V2 is predicting nothing but above-average temperatures across the whole entire U.S. For precipitation it shows a dry southeast, and wet Ohio Valley and interior northeast. I won't be showing the Euro model, but it looks very similar, except it has a little farther above average precipitation in the Ohio Valley. Here is the CanZips model and it is the same, warmth everywhere. This is not uncommon for the models to show warmth like this, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are wrong. I mean, look at what happened last winter. 95% of the country was above average. I would love to think this can't happen in back-to-back years, but with what I'm seeing it might come awfully close. Let's get back into the precipitation on the CanZips model. It agrees with the dry southeast, but doesn't show above-average precipitation in the Ohio Valley, which is strange because most signs point towards the Ohio Valley being very wet this winter. Now let's take a look at our analogs. And you are starting to see a trend. It looks like it is going to be pretty warm compared to normal. Although, parts of the upper Midwest show the potential to be slightly below average. When it comes to precipitation, here is another one of those signs that point towards a wet Ohio Valley, and for the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic our analogs show below average precipitation. The QBO is another factor I look at. Currently it is in its positive phase or its westerly phase. Here is what the recent winters have looked like when the QBO has been in a similar state. It looks pretty cold in the north, but this does include the very cold winter of 2013 to 2014, which is the main reason it shows this kind of cold. Here is years with a positive QBO and a La Niña. The cold is not as extreme in the upper Midwest, but an interesting thing to note is the warmth isn't as strong in the southeast. It shows an average of only 1 to 2 degrees above average. One more thing I like to look at is recent trends, and as you can see pretty much the whole entire eastern half of the country has trended towards above average in the past decade. When it comes to precipitation, a lot of areas have seen average to slightly above average precipitation in the past 10 years. In the southeast they have been several inches above average. Now what you have been waiting for is snowfall. I want to show some factors that will impact my snowfall forecast later in this video. Here is snowfall compared to average during strong La Niña winters. I know this is hard to look at if you like snow in the northern Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and sadly the next couple maps will look very similar in that region. Here is a graph of current Arctic sea ice compared to average in the record low year of 2012, and currently we are well below 2012 for this date. Low Arctic sea ice means a lack of a strong cold source for this winter and thus a warmer winter overall. Also during low Arctic sea ice winters, the polar vortex tends to shift over Russia and Siberia and never makes an impact on North America's winter. And here is the snowfall anomaly for the 5 lowest Arctic sea ice winters. The Great Lakes see some above average snowfall, but from Kentucky to Cape Cod it is generally well below average. And lastly, here is the recent snowfall trends from the last 5 winters. The upper Midwest has seen several snowy winters recently, but everywhere else they have struggled to meet their averages. Now it's time for me to get into Core Weather's official winter forecast. We will start out with temperatures, and as you might have imagined, it looks pretty similar to what we saw all video, a warm eastern half. Areas not colored should be within a degree either way of their average. In the light blue up north, expect temperatures to be 1 to 2 degrees below average. From Kansas City to Buffalo in the light orange, expect temperatures that are 1 to 2 degrees above average. In the second shade of orange, we are calling for temperatures to be 2 to 4 degrees above average. And in the more reddish color, we are forecasting temperatures to be over 4 degrees above average this winter. And here is the northeast portion. For Boston and New York City we are thinking 2 to 4 degrees above average, while in Syracuse and Burlington it should be just 1 to 2 degrees above average. Next we have precipitation, and like we saw several times, the Ohio Valley should be above average, but we also extended that into the Great Lakes because of the strong La Niña, making it more likely that the storm track is further north. Here is the Northeast, and most of it near average, except for the far north. Also in the Mid-Atlantic we are thinking it will be slightly below average in terms of precipitation. Lastly, here is our snowfall forecast. We think the above-average snowfall will remain in the upper Midwest this winter. In the light blue, expect up to 125% of your average snowfall and up to 150% in the darker blue. Areas not shaded should be fairly close to their average, but I would lean more towards slightly below. In the Ohio Valley it will be yet another below-average snowfall season with close to 75% of normal snowfall. That stretches out towards Boston and south. In D.C., Baltimore, Philly and New York City we are forecasting only 50 to 75% of your normal snowfall. Which, as bad as it sounds, would still be better than last winter. Here is snowfall from last winter, and some areas in the northern Mid-Atlantic couldn't get over an inch of snowfall. And most areas were way below their average. Here is our city-by-city forecast for this upcoming winter to give you a better idea of what to expect. In the forecast section, the colors indicate whether we are forecasting slightly above average, moderately above average, near average, slightly below average, or moderately below average snowfall. I obviously couldn't do every city, so this is just the big ones, although if you want me to, I can give you a more specific forecast on snowfall in the comments below. Just let me know your city. That is all for this video. I know it was probably not what you wanted to hear if you love snow, but I'm just not seeing many signs that it will be snowy. Trust me, I want snow too, but I don't think it is likely that we will see very much in most areas. This may sound bad, but I hope I'm wrong. I guess only time will tell. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I hope to see you in my next video.